Okay, let's talk about some of the most exciting players in fantasy right now, skyrocketing up rankings. Now, I'm not telling you to go through and trade for every one of these guys. I mean, obviously, someone like Tyler Higbee is a lot more exciting now than he was before the season, so he's going to cost a lot more. So we need to reevaluate our stance, reevaluate our expectations, especially going forward. Maybe sell high on a few of these players, maybe buy the hype. But before we get into it, go down there, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. I'm going to continue to live stream every single day until the end of the season. So make sure you go down there, hit the bell next to the subscribe button if you want to come out to our live streams. If you can't make it, leave any questions you have in the comment section. And last but not least, this video is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. If you want to go check out any of these cool player props for this weekend, make sure you go sign up for Underdog. Use promo code FLOCK. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. Go deposit $10 with the link in the description. Have $20 in your account. Go have some fun. Available in damn near every state. But that should be it. Let's go dive into our first guy, Breece Hall. I'm going to be super brief with Breece Hall. I mean, I have already talked about Breece Hall at length every single week this entire year, but let me just say his name here. 29% of the snaps week 2, 54% of the snaps week 3, 66% of the snaps week 4. This past week, I mean, the man went out there, had 46 snaps compared to Michael Carter at 31. And with Breece Hall, what is so exciting is this is a running back that's been a part-time player that is right now second in the NFL at the running back position in targets, only behind Breece Hall. So that's why, honestly, one of my favorite bets this week on Underdog. Of course, go sign up with promo code FLOCK, link in the description. Go take the over on Breece Hall at 2.5 receptions. Free money. The man's had 27 targets as a part-time player this season. But let's go over to our next guy, going to be Tyler Higbee here. With Tyler Higbee at a position that has been a train wreck. I mean, dear God, Kyle Pitts busting. George Kittle playing left tackle. Darren Waller looks like a part-time player. What tight end can you comfortably rely on right now outside of Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews? Well, the answer is Tyler Higbee. I mean, if we're looking at Tyler Higbee, you would assume that with Matthew Stafford, who's been very bad, who's the quarterback 25 on a points per game basis so far this season, that he's held back Tyler Higbee so far. But nope. Tyler Higbee, 38 targets through 4 weeks. Tyler Higbee, 26 receptions. Tyler Higbee, 244 receiving yards. I mean, if we go compare this to one of our wide receivers that we are avoiding in drafts this year in Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson, 9 receptions compared to Tyler Higbee's 26. Allen Robinson, 18 targets compared to Tyler Higbee's 38. Allen Robinson, 95 receiving yards compared to Tyler Higbee's 244. Please go to the comment section. Help me answer this question. I think it is so difficult. Do you prefer Tyler Higbee rest of season over George Kittle and Kyle Pitts and possibly Darren Waller? He's been phenomenal. You go back to what he was at the end of 2019 as well. We've seen dominant stretches from Tyler Higbee before in the past. Now let's go over to our next guy, our most drafted running back on Underdog, because we are getting him in the 7th round, Josh Jacobs. With Jacobs this past week, I mean, he looked at Brandon Bolden, he looked at Zamir White, he looked at Amir Abdullah, and he said, take a back seat, buddies. I am the captain now. 67 snaps out of the potential 75. I mean, the man was a 3-down player, 28 carries. He had 6 targets out of the backfield. I mean, over 170 total yards, multiple touchdowns as well. I love to see it. And honestly, I thought it was a pretty tough matchup going up against the Denver Broncos. And I think maybe the issue with Josh Jacobs is this has been a running back that's been playing in games where the Raiders have been losing. We go back to week 1, loss against the Chargers. Week 2, loss against the Cardinals. Week 3, loss against the Titans. That's not the game environment that you want Josh Jacobs in. The game environment you need him in is where the Raiders are up by a touchdown early on. So I think that it's going to be tough sledding in a lot of these games for Josh Jacobs, if we're going to be honest. Like if we go ahead, if we look at the Raiders playing the Chiefs this Monday night, aka my birthday, you better be at that live stream. It is going to be very tough if they go down in early score touchdown. Going up against the Texans the following week, that'll be nice. But remember, they're playing multiple games against the Broncos. They're playing multiple games against the Chiefs. They're playing multiple games against the Chargers this season. Playing the toughest division football. I just wish that we had Josh Jacobs in a different division where the Raiders could actually lead these games. But let's stay in this division. Let's go over to a player that was also phenomenal this past week, Austin Ekeler. With Ekeler, I know a lot of people are viewing him as a completely different running back, where he comes out and he's a league-winning player this past week. I mean, if you're looking at DFS tournaments, he's winning people millions of dollars. 3 total touchdowns, 6 receptions, over 100 total yards. But in reality, nothing really changed here. If we go through, if we look at Austin Ekeler through the past 4 games, I mean, this past week, the only thing that stands out is the fact that, okay, well, the Chargers put up 34 points, so Austin Ekeler scored touchdowns. I mean, if we're looking at this, he has averaged about 12 carries a game. He has averaged, I mean, a little over 6 receptions a game as well. So the volume's been consistent. He's a committee running back and one of the best offenses in the NFL. And when one of the best offenses in the NFL is going to put up 34 points on the board, the running back that is heavily involved as a pass catcher, that has the red zone role, is going to be very productive from a fantasy football standpoint. When that offense goes and has an abysmal 10 points against the Jags, not going to be great for Ekeler. When they only dropped 24 points the first 2 weeks, not great if Eckler's not scoring, but I think going forward, he should be fine. Now going over to the next guy, Nick Chubb, not too much to discuss. Getting typical Nick Chubb games here. I mean, the man is averaging over 100 rushing yards a week, averaging about 115 rushing yards a week. He's had 5 touchdowns through the first 4. Really love Nick Chubb in a non-PPR format. We drafted him a lot on Underdog in the 3rd round because it was a half PPR league. I would say in a full PPR league, maybe we look to move Chubb. There's not too much to discuss. I mean, he's exactly who we thought he was going to be. I think just a lot of people are super excited when they see the 100 rushing yards game and the rushing touchdown. But now let's go over to the Detroit Lions, where right now, obviously, we have the who's who of quarterbacks at the very top of the NFL in passing. You got Justin Herbert at 1. You have Josh Allen at 2. You have Jared Goff at 3. With Jared Goff right now only behind Justin Herbert and Josh Allen in passing yards, has more passing touchdowns than both these guys as well. You're looking at Jared Goff being right there, tied for the league lead in passing touchdowns. I understand a lot of people are extremely excited about Jared Goff, and hell yes, I think you should be. But at the same time, if we were going to be realistic going forward, even though the Detroit Lions just dropped 45 points against the Seattle Seahawks with no Amon-Ra St. Brown, no Jameson Williams, no DeAndre Swift, no DJ Chark. I mean, the situation on paper is going to get better going forward. This passing volume is not to keep up for Jared Goff. Even if his wide receivers get better, I think that this is small sample variance. I think he will be a top 10 passing quarterback in the NFL this season. I think it's very easy to say that. But at the same time, even if he's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL in passing yards and passing touchdowns, does he have a truly elite level ceiling? I don't necessarily think so from a fantasy football standpoint. Remember, fantasy football is different than real football. That's why it is fantasy fake, okay? When you have no rushing upside, I think you're still a sell high player. If we could go through and sell him for someone like Kyler Murray, who has said rushing upside in a casual format, I would love that. But now going back over to the tight end spot, we got TJ Hawkinson. With Hawkinson this past week, 8 receptions, 12 targets, 179 receiving yards, and multiple receiving touchdowns. I think you probably got to prefer him over these guys like, Darren Waller, George Kittle. I don't know what the realistic expectations are for him going forward. Like we said, this was a week where you had 4 of the top pass catchers for Jared Goff out. I think the passing volume skews away from Hawkinson. I have him in a ton of best ball leagues. Like, I really want to root for him. I don't know if we can expect this consistently, though. Now, going over to our next guy, we're going to have George Pickens in Pittsburgh. With George Pickens, I mean, maybe you want to head over to Underdog, take the over on 7 fantasy points. It does seem a little low, but honestly, I don't think we need to be running out there and trying to trade for George Pickens right now. I get it. He looked great, 102 receiving yards out of 204 passing yards from this Pittsburgh Steelers offense this past week. But if we are going to be fair with this evaluation, if we're going to be fair with this situation, keep in mind, they're going up against Buffalo this week. That's why that line on Underdog at 7 fantasy points is so damn low. If we take a step back, I think that there's going to be a decent amount of growing pains with both George Pickens and Kenny Pickett in this overall offense. You still have a lot of target competition in Deontay Johnson. So 100% George Pickens is someone that you need on your roster. George Pickens is someone that I want on my bench if we can get him off the waiver wire. Please just don't go out of your way. Look at the phenomenal performance that we had from him this past week, all the preseason hype that we had to go along with it, and just go run out there and trade someone like Deontay Johnson for him. Don't get that ahead of yourself. But now going over to our next wide receiver, we got T. Higgins in this same division. With T. Higgins, I mean, this is a wide receiver that over the past 3 weeks here is averaging over 90 receiving yards a week. And honestly, I think this is sustainable. Y'all know we were talking about T. Higgins as a clear play over Michael Pittman Jr. coming into the season. I'm recording this right before the Thursday night game, so Michael Pittman Jr. dominates. Feel free to clown on me in the comment section below. But I thought that it was so easy to see how much better the Cincinnati Bengals were going to be than the Indianapolis Colts. And with T. Higgins, people are finally starting to understand you can still get 10 targets a game for Jamar Chase. Keep in mind, Jamar Chase has still had considerably more targets than T. Higgins so far this season. But when you have Joe Burrow, when you have an elite talent in Higgins, combined with an offense that is going to have respectable passing volume, and more importantly, an extremely condensed target tree where the only guys that they involve, the only players they involve at the wide receiver position are going to be T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Tyler Boyd, where we don't have to worry about the wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, wide receiver 6, cycling in to be leeches in this offense. Very similar to what you'll see with Kansas City, where there are guys out there catching touchdowns where you've never even heard their name. You can still have someone like T. Higgins being extremely productive in this context. So I like that Higgins is getting the respect that he deserves. Don't just go out there and sell T. Higgins. But I mean, still, as we've always said, multiple wide receiver ones could coexist in this offense. So if this opens up a buy low opportunity for Jamar Chase, let's go out and let's get him. But that's all I got for you. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope you got something from it. If you have not done so, go down there, drop a like in the video, fix your life. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscribe button if you want to come out to those daily live streams we have. If you're not able to come out to the live stream and you want to get your question answered, feel free to drop it down there in the comment section. I'll try to answer as many as I possibly can. Last but not least, I hope you have a great day, and I really do hope I get to see you in the live stream tonight.